Hey, how you going everyone? As you all know, my wheel bearings went in my Mustang. So I went out and bought some replacements from Burson's in Australia, so like an AutoZone copy in America. They use Japanese bearings, so hopefully they'll last longer than 15,000 Ks. Again, Ford wanted a fortune for their parts, and after talking to a service manager at Ford, they can't guarantee that it's going to last anything longer than 15,000 Ks again. So, you know, I'm going to give the aftermarket bearings a go. I'm going to do a bit of a demonstration on how to pull out the hub and replace the hub and put it all back together. So, you know, what I'm doing is the way I do it and the way I've researched how to do it. You know, again, if you're going to do it yourself, just do some research, make sure that what you're doing is correct. Yeah, enjoy. First time I'm doing kind of like a demonstration, so hopefully if you have any comments, slap them down below and I'll answer them best I can. Thanks. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is remove the brake caliper. There's two 18mm bolts holding this brake caliper on. I found that using a ratchet spanner is the easiest way. A rattle gun there's not really enough space for a rattle gun to get in there. So I'll try to show you the bolts. So one is where the ratchet spanner is, and the other one is just up here. So they both need to be undone, and the caliper will come away, and then you can place it up onto the sway bar so it doesn't fall down. So try to not let it hang, because you can do damage to the pipe, the brake pipe. Right, when you take the brake caliper off, just be careful because the brake disc will come loose and it could fall off towards you. So you can screw on a wheel nut or a lug nut to prevent it falling off. However, I found it, if you're just careful, it won't move very far. Oh, make sure your handbrake's not on. So you'll definitely know if your handbrake's on, because it'll be super tight like it was just then. And then all I try to do is tuck it out of the way, or you can grab some lock wire or some cord and just hold it up out of the way. So that should do for now. Now the brake disc comes out. See, nothing else holding on that brake disc. Right, so now holding on the hub to the half shaft is a 32mm bolt. Now this is held on with a lot of force and also with red Loctite or blue Loctite. So we need to make sure we rattle you'll need a rattle gun or a big braking bar to get this off. Luckily I've got a rattle gun, so I'm just going to quickly rattle this off. 32. So I like to take this plate off because it's only very, very thin metal and I don't want to bend it. It's only 3 8mm bolts. So there's one here, one under here and one on the top. Quickly take it off, prevent any damage to it. You are going to place this on the ground and unbolt stuff. And I just found just quickly unscrewing these just prevents any damage to it. Like I said, you can leave it in, but for 3 bolts, you might as well take it out. And you're not going to create any damage. Rightio, from here, you've only really got 3 bolts that you need to undo. So you've got the bottom of the drop link, which is an 18mm. Nothing at the back. You've got a 24mm here, nothing on the back, and then can't remember this one, we'll just check, which is a 22mm, and then I believe on the back is 22mm as well on the back. So it may be different because this is a different bolt from BMR, so you'll have to check your car to just make sure it's the right bolt. But for this one, it's 24mm bolt with a 24mm nut. So those 3 need to come undone. On top here, you've got your ABS line, which is an 8mm bolt that needs to come out, and then your brake line here, which holds your line in here, which is just a 10mm. That 10mm bolt comes out because that's all held to the knuckle, which will be coming out. So I'll quickly just do that. I just like to put these bolts back in so they can't be lost. Not that you will lose them if you keep the area clean. However, me working on grass, I will lose them. Right. Rattle gun. Take this one first. Sorry, the top one, bottom one of the vert link was 18. sorry, I made a mistake. You've also got this one here, which is a 15mm, and it's held on the back, I believe, by an 18. I'll just double check. Yep, 15 and 18. So I'll quickly just rattle them off. There you go. Your knuckle comes out. I've got the vertical link still attached, and then the hub is attached by 4 bolts inside. So, righto, to remove the hub from the knuckle, it's just 4 15mm bolts. Again, it's easy if you just use a rattle gun because they are quite long. And there you go. There's the old dodgy hub and the new knuckle, or the used knuckle that we're going to put the new hub in. All right, we'll unbox the new hub and attach it and put it all back together. All right, everyone, back to putting everything back together. So before I start putting things back together, I'm just going to give things a quick clean. So as you can see here, there's old Loctite on the threads here, and since we're going to put new Loctite on, I'm just going to give it a quick clean with a wire brush, and that will take all the old Loctite off, because we don't want old Loctite on there, and that's really hard to do with one hand. And since this wire brush had a lot of, I don't know if you can see that too well because it's really quite bright out here at the moment. I'm just going to give it a quick rinse with brake cleaner, good quality brake cleaner. And as you can see, most of that is off. There's a little chunk there I'll try to get off once I put down the camera. No, it's on properly, it doesn't want to come off. And I'll give the knuckle a quick clean. Alright, we come over here, got a brand new hub. All packed up, smelling nice, greasy, excuse me. Very hard to do this with one hand. And as you can see, the quality is fairly the same. The thing that sold me is the guy that sold me at the Burston store said these are Japanese bearings, and I think the oil has leaked out of these. As you can see, if you run your hand around here, they're really dirty. I don't know if that's brake dirt or grease, but I think it's brake dirt. It is quite yucky, but these ones look quite well constructed. Looks like good quality metal, so hopefully they last longer than the OEM ones. So we will start putting it together. So everything's done in reverse, so we'll start by putting I really don't like doing things up by rattle gun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start everything by hand, get it all the way down by hand, and then just nip it up with rattle gun. Right, let's go start putting this hub back together. Knuckle. So all I did is started by putting this lower control arm in and pulling the upper in, and I just kind of brought everything up and in, and then the half shafts in. So I'm just going to get the 32mm bolt and just place it on by hand, just so everything kind of stays together. And the vertical link I'll try to get in. And this tow arm, I've always had issues getting it in. So I'm just going to go quickly grab my pry bar, which is the wrong tool for the job, which I despise doing. I'm going to go get my pry bar, do it properly. Got my trusty pry bar. Hopefully now we can get this into place. Away. Always a pain in the backside for me. Not one thing I like to do, but sometimes brute force is necessary. This one up because he's not playing the game. $15, $18. do is 10mm here. Plug this ABS line back in here, 8mm bolts. Make sure the ABS sensor is not damaged. Place it back inside. When you do up the ABS sensor, don't do it up super tight because it's only plastic. Just do it up and nip it up. It doesn't need to be done in there super tight. Alright, at this stage, I'm not going to do up the 32mm, I'm going to do all the brake to get up because it will assist me in doing up to the correct torque. Now if you just do this up, this is just going to spin, go back through the diff, back through the drive shaft, and there's no point. If you get the brakes to assist you, it's going to assist much more. You just need to heave on it. Right, so your rear hub's going to go on. At this stage, I'm definitely going to put a lug nut on. This will assist when you're putting back on the rear brakes because it is a bit of a stuff around because you're going to have troubles. So make sure it's all the way home. This will just stop it falling off. You can try to get it all the way home so this won't move around too much. Somehow I've got these twisted around. Make sure a pad's on each side. So the pads have moved. It's a good opportunity to just use a pry bar. Make sure that they're pushed back in place. Alright, that's 92 foot-pounds. So now that's saying a quarter. So from here down to the bottom. So that's a tiny little bit. So let that off. So it's still got to go the majority of a quarter of a turn. tight as I'm getting it, and that only went maybe an eighth of a turn. So that's about as good as I'm going to get it. Got some oil on the brake caliper, on the brake, so I'm just going to give them a quick wipe down with some brake cleaner. And that's it. Put the wheel back on and we're good to go. So let's put the wheel back on. Oh, sorry, one last thing. I like to get this brake line out of the way. 18mm. So if anyone is curious what wheels these are, they're Velgen VM5s. I love these wheels. They are a sexy wheel. They are 20 by 10, so 20-inch wheel by 10 inches across. I've put Michelin Pilot Road Pilot Sport 4s, and being a supercharged Mustang, putting out a fair bit of horsepower, I've never had any issues with traction, which is good. I've had a little bit of problems in the wet, but I mean, I don't think anyone or any tyre wouldn't have that issue. Sweet, and that's it. And that's it. Well, so I'd like to thank you all for watching. That's how I changed my rear hubs. It's not a big job. It's not really time consuming. Something that I'll check, if you've got a Mustang and you're putting some horsepower through it, I'd definitely be checking your hubs. The first signs, it sounded like clutch issues, and then the cars didn't track right. So I definitely put your car up in jacks. Just check your rear hubs. It takes a couple of minutes to check it, and I tell you what, I'm glad I did. Thanks guys, see ya.